Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Aditi Lumba with the evening news. The headlines. Cabinet approves implementation of the National Mission on Edible Oils, oil palm with financial outlay of over 11,000 crore rupees. Takes several decisions to boost domestic production of edible oils and to reduce dependency on imports. Government also clears package of 77.45 crore for revival of Northeastern Regional Agricultural Marketing Corporation Limited. Supreme Court passes interim order allowing women to sit for National Defence Academy examination. RBI issues revised guidelines for hiring of locker facility provided by banks. Over 56 crore 6 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. National recovery rate reaches 97.52%. Uttar Pradesh government allows reopening of schools for classes 1st to 8th. USOF signs agreement with BSNL for high-speed internet access to northeastern states. Flood situation continues to be grim in Bihar and Assam. And in World Athletics Under-20 Championships at Nairobi, India wins bronze medal in 4x400 meter mixed relay team event. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is going on, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also help others get vaccinated. We also advise the listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact National Helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. The Union Cabinet today took several steps to boost the production of edible oils and reduce the dependency on import. It has given its approval to launch a new mission on oil palm to be known as the National Mission on Edible Oils, Oil Palm, NMEOOP. It will be a new centrally sponsored scheme with special focus on the Northeast region and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Speaking to reporters on the Cabinet decision in New Delhi today, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur said, due to heavy dependence on imports for edible oils, it is important to make efforts for increasing the domestic production of edible oils.
निर्भरता हमारी आयात पर कम हो, स्थानीय उत्पादन ज्यादा हो, तो नेशनल मिशन ऑन एडिबल ऑयल्स ऑयल पाम पर कुल मिलाकर 11,040 करोड़ रुपए का वित्तीय प्रावधान किया जाएगा। ऑयल सीड ऑयल पाम का क्षेत्र और उत्पादकता बढ़ाने पर फोकस होगा। उत्तर पूर्व नॉर्थ ईस्ट के राज्य या अंडमान निकोबार हो, इनके बगानों को सहायता प्रदान करने की इसमें प्रयास किया गया है।
Agriculture and Farmer Welfare Minister Narendra Singh Tomar said the decision will boost the production of edible oils. He said Centre is working with the states to increase the production of edible oils. Mr. Tomar said financial outlay of 11,040 crore rupees has been made for the scheme, out of which 8,844 crore rupees is the share of Government of India and 2,196 crore rupees is the state share. He further said under the scheme it is proposed to cover an additional area of 6.5 lakh hectare for oil palm till the year 2025-26 and thereby reaching the target of 10 lakh hectares ultimately.
पाम ऑयल की खेती देश में 3.5 लाख हेक्टेयर के लगभग हो रही है। यह आने वाले कल में 10 लाख हेक्टेयर तक जाएगी और ऑयल का उत्पादन 25-26 तक 11 लाख टन और 29-30 तक 28 लाख टन होगा और इसका बड़ा फायदा किसानों को होगा। किसानों को वाजिब दाम मिलेगा, अच्छी टेक्नोलॉजी मिलेगी, रोजगार के अवसर सृजित होंगे और पूर्वोत्तर क्षेत्र में निश्चित रूप से अर्थव्यवस्था को बल मिलेगा।
The proposed scheme will subsume the current National Food Security Mission Oil Palm Program. To give impetus to the Northeast and Andaman, the government will bear additional cost of 2% of the crude palm oil price to ensure that the farmers are paid at par with the rest of the country. To address the issue of shortage of planting material in the country, seed gardens will be provided assistance up to 80 lakh rupees for 15 hectares in rest of India and 1 crore rupees for 15 hectares in Northeast and Andaman regions. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs CCEA approved a revival package of 77.45 crore for revival of Northeastern Regional Agricultural Marketing Corporation Limited, NERAMAC. It is a central public section enterprises under the administrative control of the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region. Revival package will help NERAMAC to implement various innovative plans, namely providing better farming facilities, training to farmers in clusters, organic seeds and fertilizer, post-harvesting facilities in order to promote the products of Northeast farmers in the world market. The Cabinet has given its nod for ratification of the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer for phase down of hydrofluorocarbons by India. It was adopted by the parties to the Montreal Protocol on October 2016 at the 20th meeting of the parties to the Montreal Protocol held at Kigali in Rwanda. The Cabinet was apprised of the Memorandum of Understanding MOU signed in March this year between the National Disaster Management Authority NDMA and the Ministry of Disaster Management and Relief of Bangladesh on cooperation in the field of disaster management, resilience and mitigation. The Cabinet also approved Memorandum of Understanding between the Indian Council of Medical Research and the GARDP Foundation on Antimicrobial Resistance Research and Innovation of Switzerland. The Cabinet has cleared Memorandum of Understanding MOU between India and United States of America on cooperation in the field of geology.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that today's Cabinet decision on National Mission on Edible Oils, oil palm, will be a game changer when it comes to helping oil palm farmers and creating an Atmanirbhar Bharat. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said the Northeast and Andaman and Nicobar Islands will specially benefit from this. He said revival of the Northeastern Regional Agricultural Marketing Corporation Limited will particularly help the farmers of the region and will further popularize the products of the Northeast across India. Minister for Personnel, Dr. Jitendra Singh, today informed about the setting up of a separate civil services exam centre for Ladakh to be located at Leh. The announcement came after Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh, R.K. Mathur, called on the Union Minister in New Delhi to discuss the placement of IAS officers and other service-related matters in the context of Ladakh.
The Supreme Court today passed an interim order to allow women to take the admission exam to the National Defence Academy, NDA. A division bench comprising Justices Sanjay Kishan Kaul and Rishikesh Roy passed the interim order in a writ petition seeking permission for women candidates to appear for the NDA exam. While issuing the order, the court said women should be permitted to take part in the NDA exam. The Supreme Court today dismissed the plea of Maharashtra government denying any interference in the CBI probe of corruption-related case against former Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh. Earlier, Mumbai High Court has also dismissed Maharashtra government's plea seeking deletion of certain parts from the Central Bureau of Investigations FIR.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will virtually inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of various projects worth of 83 crore rupees at historic Somnath Temple in Gujarat on Friday. Prime Minister Modi is the chairman of the Sri Somnath Trust, which manages the affairs of the world-famous temple located in Prabhas Patan town in the Gir Somnath district. Secretary and trustee of Sri Somnath Trust, Praveen Lahiri, said Mr. Modi will inaugurate 3 projects including the Somnath Promenade, Somnath Exhibition Centre and reconstructed temple precinct of Old Juna Somnath. He will also perform a virtual groundbreaking ceremony for the Parvati temple coming up near the main temple at a cost of 30 crore rupees. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman met the COP26 President-designate Alok Sharma in New Delhi today and discussed various issues related to the climate change and specifically COP26. Ms. Sitharaman stated that India is among a few G20 countries on track towards UNFCCC and Paris Agreement goals and has taken decisive actions to tackle the climate change. The Finance Minister mentioned that the government is taking concrete steps and at appreciable speed to meet its commitments on the target of 450 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030. She added that 100 gigawatt of this renewable energy had already been achieved. Among other important initiatives, the extensive work done on hydrogen energy mission was highlighted. The finance minister expressed hope that the commitment made by the developed countries to provide $100 billion per year to developing countries would be achieved and was optimistic about a positive outcome on the new collective goals on finance in COP26.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is currently chairing the UN Security Council open debate on technology and peacekeeping at UN headquarters in New York. Mr. Jaishankar in his speech said, 21st century peacekeeping must be anchored in a strong ecosystem of technology and innovation that can facilitate UN peacekeeping operations in implementing the mandates in complex environments. He announced India's support to UN in rollout of Unite Aware, a technology platform for peacekeeping missions. The External Affairs Minister said UN peacekeeping missions continue to operate in challenging settings involving terrorist, armed groups and non-state actors. He said as the nature of peacekeeping has become more complex, it is vital that our capabilities to secure the peacekeepers keep pace. Dr. Jaishankar said India believes in walking the talk when it comes to the safety and security of UN peacekeepers. He said peacekeeping continues to play a crucial role in India's vision of ensuring international peace and security. The External Affairs Minister said serving under the blue flag, 174 gallant Indian soldiers have made the supreme sacrifice, the largest number among troops contributing countries. He said today over 5,000 Indian personnel are deployed in 9 missions. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and Foreign Minister of Estonia Eva Maria Limets also spoke at the event.
The United Arab Emirates today said that it is hosting former Afghan President Ashraf Ghani after he fled his country amid a Taliban takeover. In a brief statement, the UAE Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation confirmed that the UAE has welcomed President Ashraf Ghani and his family into the country on humanitarian grounds. Ghani fled Afghanistan on Sunday as the Taliban closed in on Kabul before the insurgents walked into the Afghan capital unopposed. President Ramnath Kovind today accepted credentials from 4 envoys in a virtual ceremony. High Commissioner of Nigeria, Ahmed Sule, Ambassador of Austria, Katharina Weiser, Ambassador of South Korea, Chung Jae-bok, and Archbishop Leopoldo Girelli, Apostolic Nuncio of the Holy See, presented their credentials. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Kovind congratulated the envoys on their appointment and conveyed his good wishes to them. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Cabinet approves implementation of National Mission on Edible Oils. Oil palm with financial outlay of over 11,000 crore rupees takes several decisions to boost domestic production of edible oils and to reduce dependency on imports. Government also clears package of 77.45 crores for revival of Northeastern Regional Agricultural Marketing Corporation Limited. Supreme Court passes interim order allowing women to sit for National Defence Academy examination. RBI issues revised guidelines for hiring of locker facility provided by the banks. Over 56 crores 6 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. National recovery rate reaches 97.52%. Uttar Pradesh government allows reopening of schools for classes 1st to 8th standard. USOF signs agreement with BSNL for high-speed internet access to northeastern states. Flood situation continues to be grim in Bihar and Assam. And in World Athletics, Under-20 Championships at Nairobi, India wins bronze medal in 4x400 meters mixed relay team event. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alert.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. You are listening to the evening news. The Reserve Bank of India has issued revised guidelines for locker and safe custody facility in view of various developments in the area of banking and technology, nature of consumer grievances, and the feedback received from banks. In a notification issued from Mumbai today, RBI said the new guidelines will be effective from 1st of January 2022 and be applicable to new as well as existing lockers. Accordingly, banks will have to maintain a branch-wise list of vacant lockers and a wait list to ensure transparency. Banks would also need to adopt a model locker agreement to be framed by the Indian Banking Association that will incorporate a clause prohibiting the customer to keep illegal and hazardous items in bank lockers. While the RBI has clarified that banks cannot be liable for loss caused by natural calamities, they must take all steps to protect their premises from such catastrophes. It added that the bank's liability in case of incidents like fire, robbery or fraud committed by an employee will be 100 times the prevailing annual rent of the locker. The central bank has said that locker facility can be extended to non-customers after due diligence, adding that banks must not insist on any term deposits from existing locker holders or those who have a satisfactory operative account. However, banks will have a discretion to break open any locker following due procedure if the rent has not been paid by the customer for 3 years in a row. The country has administered over 56 crore 6 lakh doses of COVID vaccine so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. Union Health Ministry said more than 55 lakh 5,000 vaccine doses were administered in the last 24 hours. The ministry said 37,169 patients recovered from COVID in the last 24 hours and the national recovery rate has reached 97.52%. The country reported 35,178 new cases in the last 24 hours.
The Union Government has provided over 57 crore 88 lakh COVID vaccine doses to the states and union territories so far. It is sure that more than 18 lakh 62,000 vaccine doses will be received by the states and union territories in the coming days. More than 94 lakh unutilized COVID vaccine doses are still available with the states and union territories to be administered. Kerala confirmed 21,427 COVID positive cases today. 1,38,225 samples were tested in the last 24 hours. The test positivity rate is at 15.5%. 179 deaths were reported, taking the aggregate death toll to 19,049.
The News Services Division of All India Radio and its bilingual live phone-in program Corona Jagrukta series will bring a special discussion on COVID-19 tonight. President of the Public Health Foundation of India, Dr. K. Srinath Reddy, will participate in the live discussion. This can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. In Uttar Pradesh, in wake of weakening of COVID-19 infection, the state government has decided to reopen the schools for classes 1st to 8th standard for offline mode. COVID protocol will have to be strictly followed by the schools. As per government order issued by the Basic Shiksha Vibhag, the offline classes for 6th to 8th standard will reopen from 23rd August, while for classes 1st to 5th, the schools will restart from 1st of September. The schools and colleges in the state were closed for physical classes due to COVID-19 pandemic in March this year.
Karnataka Health Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar has made counselling mandatory for the transfer of medical officers and other staff in the Health and the Family Welfare Department. This has put a brake on arbitrary transfers made round the year based on recommendations and other corrupt practices. We have a report.
After the order was issued today on transfer based on counselling, the Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar tweeted that the decision will not only ensure transparency and discipline in transfers of medical officers and other staff, but also prevent corruption and arbitrary transfers which negatively impact the functioning of the department and delivery of healthcare services to the people. The Karnataka State Civil Services Regulation of Transfer of Medical Officers and Other Staff Act prescribes under its rules that there is mandatory service of 3 years for Group A, 4 years for Group B, 5 years for Group C, and 7 years for Group D employees. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
For making available high-quality and high-speed internet access to the states of northeastern region of the country, Universal Service Obligation Fund USOF has signed an agreement with Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited today for hiring of 10 Gbps international bandwidth for internet connectivity to Agartala from Bangladesh Submarine Cable Company Limited through Cox's Bazar and Kuakata in Bangladesh. Commenting on the Development Communications Minister, Ashwini Vaishnaw said, citizens will get high-speed internet connectivity for better access to e-services in the northeastern states. The Rouse Avenue Court in Delhi today discharged Congress leader Shashi Tharoor in the death case of his wife Sunanda Pushkar. Special Judge Gitanjali Goel passed the verdict asking Tharoor to file bonds. Sunanda Pushkar was found dead on the evening of 17 January in 2014.
The flood situation continued to be grim in Bihar and Assam. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar today conducted an aerial survey of flood-affected areas of the state. Mr. Kumar made an aerial survey of Katihar and Purnia districts to take stock of the situation and assess the damage caused by the prevailing floods. The Chief Minister visited relief camps and community kitchen centers at Katihar and Purnia to oversee ongoing relief works. Mr. Kumar instructed officials to tackle relief operations on war footing. Over 40 lakh people across more than 26 districts including Patna, Katihar, Samastipur and Munger in Bihar are reeling under the impact of floods. In Assam, flood situation remains grim and unchanged in Dhemaji district since Monday. The flash flood affected 30 villages and led to the closure of National Highway 15 due to submersion at several places of the district. Guardian Minister of the district Sanjay Kishan visited the flood-affected districts today. He took the stock of the situation at Barua Block Relief Camp. Mr. Kishan interacted with the flood-affected people and distributed relief materials.
Power and New and Renewable Energy Minister R.K. Singh has said that India has established a new identity in the power sector and made new records in access and energy transition. He said the government has taken several steps to modernize and strengthen the sector by improving power distribution networks and installing smart grid and smart metering. In an exclusive interview to All India Radio News, Mr. Singh said the country reached from power deficit stage to power surplus stage under the NDA government.
Before our government came to office, our country was power deficit. We made it power surplus. We added about 182,000 megawatts of generation capacity. And today we are exporting power. The availability of power in rural areas used to be about 12 hours per day in 2015. Today it is 22 hours in rural areas. In urban areas, the national average, this includes the northeast, is about 23 and a half hours. This is what we have done.
The Power Minister said his ministries and departments will celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav by modernizing the power sector.
We want to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav by doing things. And what we have done and what we are engaged in doing is making the sector strong and making it modern. We've already strengthened the sector. We are going to strengthen it further. And we are going to modernize this sector in the coming decade by 2030.
The interview can be heard tonight on FM Gold and additional frequencies from 9:15 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव
As the nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News bring to the listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz will be conducted on every Monday and Tuesday in Morning News till 15th of August 2022. The next question of Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with the listeners on Monday, 23rd of August. Celebrate 75 years of independence by participating in Amrit Mahotsav with AIR News.
Azadi Ka Safar every day with All India Radio from Monday the 16th of August. As part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, News Services Division of All India Radio brings to you the story of glorious struggle and sacrifices of freedom fighters on 100.1 FM Gold channel in the English news bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. Stay tuned.
Let's listen now to a special program Azadi Ka Safar.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव आजादी का सफर with AIR News. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day. In today's episode, we will try to recreate some aspects of Netaji's life. On this day in 1945, it was reported that the plane in which Netaji was travelling had crashed near Taihoku Airport in Taiwan, and he reportedly succumbed to injuries in a nearby Japanese military hospital. Let's unravel the momentous life of one of the bravest personalities of Indian freedom struggle.
Subhash Chandra Bose, endearingly called Netaji, was born on 23rd January 1897 in Cuttack. He graduated from the Calcutta University in 1919 and cleared Indian Civil Services exam in 1921. That a tiger cannot be caged for too long, the free-spirited Bose resigned from civil services upon being encouraged by Chittaranjan Das to work for his country's freedom than to be a slave of the British. Bose supported Swaraj and was also of the opinion that freedom is not given, it is taken. So he devised a strategy to free the motherland from the clutches of the foreigners. And there was no looking back.
At the start of the Second World War in 1939, he initiated a mass movement under which he started uniting people from all over the country. Since there was a massive response to his call, Bose was immediately arrested by the British. While under house arrest, he planned his dramatic escape. Bose grew a beard and left his house dressed as a Pathan so that the British could not identify him. On the night of January 19, 1941, Bose first went to Bihar and then via Peshawar, Kabul, Moscow and Rome finally reached Germany, where he met Hitler. He set up a Free India Center in Berlin and started the Azad Hind Radio.
This is Subhash Chandra Bose speaking to Indians in East Asia. My countrymen in East Asia, while I am in Tokyo, I desire to address a few words to you, and I have no doubt that you will give them due consideration.
In 1943, Bose left for Southeast Asia to continue the fight for freedom. He revived the Indian National Army. Netaji named the regiments of INA after Gandhi, Nehru, Maulana Azad. There was also an all-women regiment named after Rani of Jhansi, Lakshmibai. Under Netaji's leadership, INA drew prisoners of war and thousands of civil volunteers. Bose wished to free India with the help of Japanese forces by fighting together against the British Empire. When British forces captured the Malay Peninsula, Bose chose not to surrender and planned to continue the fight from Manchuria with the aim to get support from Soviet Union. While going to Manchuria, his plane crashed.
There is a controversy regarding the death of Bose. The Japanese aircraft in which Netaji was travelling on 18th August 1945 crashed, and Bose reportedly suffered severe burns. According to some reports, he died in a nearby Japanese hospital. It is believed that his body was cremated and his ashes were interred in the Renkoji temple in Tokyo, though there is a dispute if the ashes interred in the temple are indeed his. This has given rise to many theories that Bose may have survived the crash. Bose was described as patriot of patriots by Gandhiji. His voice continues to instill patriotism.
I do not know how many of us who are going to participate in the coming battles will survive to see India free. But whether we survive or not, whether we individually live to see India free or not, we are confident that India shall be free.
18th August is also the birth anniversary of Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. She was a politician and diplomat who holds the distinctions of being the first Indian woman to hold a cabinet post in pre-independent India and also the first woman president of the United Nations General Assembly. That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar, AIR News Ke Sang. See you in the next episode tomorrow. India has won a bronze medal in the 4x400 meter mixed relay team event at the World Athletics Under-20 Championships being held at Nairobi. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Cabinet approves implementation of National Mission on Edible Oils, oil palm with financial outlay of over 11,000 crore rupees. Government also clears package of 77.45 crore for revival of Northeastern Regional Agricultural Marketing Corporation Limited. Supreme Court passes interim order allowing women to sit for National Defence Academy examination. RBI issues revised guidelines for hiring of locker facility provided by banks. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.